damn, these lights are hot.
Yeah, how the shit.
I don't have to be like, oh, okay, this.
Yeah,
No. You want me to focus on phone?
On me.
Okay. All right.
All right. How did the whole DMST podcast start? Like, how did it all come together?
Originally, in the beginning, it started because I just somehow got into podcast listening. Being at work a lot, working in the office, what happens is you only can listen to so much music. You only can listen to so much, like sports stuff. Because like, especially like back in the day when I started listening to the podcast, at the time, like Brown wasn't back. So the Cavs was shitty. You had the baseball team was starting to turn around a little bit. The Indians, and the Browns was being the Browns. So it's like, it's only so much sports that you're going to be able to listen to. So I started getting into the podcast listening. And then I came across shows like The Brilliant Idiots, shows like that. And I would just be sitting there and listening. And I'm listening to them talking and they joking. And then, and they was just cussing, and I cuss a lot. It's a bad trait, but I cuss a lot. And so I was just sitting there, and one day I was in my cubicle, and it's like, man, all they doing is sitting back, having fun, talking, and they getting the cuss while they do it. I'm like, man, I know funny people. We can do this too. So I reached out to the homie Paco then. Was like, hey, because he had already listened to podcasts too. And I'm like, yo, don't you think we can do this? And so we talked about it a little bit, and eventually we recorded something together. And then scheduling wise, it kind of got thrown off. We wasn't able to keep it going. And then that's when so I let it go a little bit, and then I got the itch again. So I was like, all right, well, let me hit up Playboy. I'm like, Playboy can talk, he should be pretty good. And me and him recorded something together. And then it was at that point that I reached back out to Paco. I was like, yo, me and Playboy did this. You should check it out. And then it just kind of came all together from there. We was just like, all right, we're going to give it a try. And so that's how this whole thing got started. They came up with a name. We started piecing together equipment. And,
how'd the name come about?
I think that one was Playboy. That was either Playboy or Paco. I can't take no credit for that one because we kept trying to figure out a name. And I just really was at a block. And then one day, I think it was Playboy. Playboy even gave me my DJ name, but I think he just kind of put in a group chat, the group text, like, drunk mind, sober thoughts. And it was just like, as soon as it said, it was like, yeah, that's it. That's the winner right there.
All right. So on the, let me get into this part first.
Okay.
You brought it up. So I was going to ask this later. How did the Brainstorm name come?
Not long after I moved home from South Carolina, we always used to be hanging out with my older brother that DJs, DJ Pooh. And so we always would be doing stuff with the music, stuff like that. And I would always be that person that'd just be sitting there listening to songs. And I'd be like, you know what, a mix good with this, you should play this song. And they'd be playing something else. And I'd be like, you know what, a mix good with this song, you should play this song. And then so finally Playboy was just like, man, you always be picking out songs. He's like, it's like a brainstorm or something like that. And I just started laughing about it, but it stuck. And so when I got into DJing, it was just DJ Brainstorm. Okay. Cool. The 4U, when I do that that's only for social media purposes.
For ladies, right?
Hey man, it's just I couldn't use DJ Brainstorm in itself on social media, so I had to add the 4U for everybody. But hey, if you need it, it's for you.
All right, so on the podcast, man, honestly, you are probably one of the most natural quarterbacks of a show I've ever seen.
I appreciate that.
What I mean? Like, so, what do you think makes you, like a quarterback, the person who kind of controls the
practice
of the show?
It's just practice. We all learned on the fly, in all honesty. It's just practice. And I don't know, I guess I've always been pretty good at kind of what's the term? Juggling a lot of things like at work or whatever. So I'm always been able to do like multiple things at a time. Multitasking, that's the word I was looking for. So like when we're sitting here, I know you mentioned it to me before, but it's when we're sitting here, I'm looking at the screen, I'm looking at the levels, I'm listening, I'm thinking about the questions, I'm listening to your response, trying to come up with something else. Because we record live, I'm looking at the feedback, on our live feed. It's just practice though. When you get to be Yeah, yeah, and I take it personally too. I take it personally when I mess up stuff. Y'all, you'd already seen me apologize about stuff. I take it personally, but hey, it's just practice. You know, you're 100 shows in, and you just get better with doing it.
Yeah. All right. So what when did you start DJing? Like, how did that? Like, what's the story behind DJ Brainstorm becoming a DJ?
Like I said, well, my older brother back in the day. I mean, this is still probably early 2000s. You know, I used to always link up with him when he would go places, whatever bar he was in or wherever lounge or whatever. A lot of times I would just go with him because it was just fun to be out the house. You know, and I'm at the time, you know, a lot of people come in, you know, you hear back in the day, the people that carried the records in and stuff like that. That's kind of how I was. I was the one carrying the CD books in. Yeah, all that stuff or whatever. Then, you know, I would learn some stuff, some small things. And, you know, he would just start doing stuff like walking away. And that's kind of how I learned to kind of start thinking about it on my own. Because he'd be like, oh, all right, you cool? I'm like, yeah. All right. He'd be like, I'm going to the bar. And then he'd go sit at the bar and the song is ending. And I'm looking at him like, yo, are you coming? You know, then I had to figure it out on my own. But once I moved back home in 2012, I kind of just got back with him because I wanted him to start kind of do some different things with the DJing, you know, maybe trying to find some different places to go to and stuff like that. I honestly didn't even have a thought that I would start doing it myself. And then all of a sudden, you know, I started touching it and it's just, it started being fun. And then once it started being fun, I really got into it. And that's when I started investing in my own stuff. So it kind of just grew out of, you know, just a natural thing of being around it. And then now it's like, I love doing it. I would do it for a living if I could.
Is it more word of mouth for you? Like, cause you know, I see you DJing. I come for the show on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it'll be a video of you DJing Friday night, Saturday night. So how do you?
Most of mine is word of mouth because I'm not set up in a spot like you're not gonna catch me at this club every Friday or every Saturday. Mine is just word of mouth referrals. People know I DJ. You know, previous good business, you know, that you've done, and they refer to people or repeat clients and things like that.
So this one on here. So have you had any crazy nights DJing or out at the club? No, you don't got to incriminate nobody. Has it all been pretty cool, or have you had?
I mean, for the most part, it's cool, but you know, it's 2018. People act a fool. You know, it's, you know, we've been places where, of course, people get to fighting and the whole thing gets shut down. I've done like cookouts before for people where next thing you know, somebody's fighting. Next thing you know, you got gunshots going off and things like that.
Like the
shit,
band
no.
on,
Hell the fuck no. My brother got a funny ass story about this one time. I barely remember it. But like something was going on around us, and so we started unpacking the chords. We like Steve Harvey on Kings of Comedy. We unpacking this stuff, or what, you know, we out of here. And I guess somebody started working their way towards us, and he was talking about I picked something up and it was just like ready to go. I got no idea. I got no recollection of it, but he tell that story all the time. But I mean, stuff happened. It depending on where you are. I mean, you got the drunk people that want to do too much. You know, it's nothing crazy. Yeah, when I'm DJing, I'm pretty much focused on that. I don't like to be bothered. I don't like people coming up saying, "Hey, you know, can I hear this song?" And I just let me do what I do.
All right. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit. So,
okay.
You know, I don't even think we're really characters on the podcast. I think we just are who we are. You know what I mean?
For the most part.
And we interact with one another. But who is? I don't know if you want to go back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Maurice Lucius? Who are you?
I'm an enigma, man. I swear, man. I'm multiple things. You know, I'm from the hood, grew up in East Cleveland, so I got that background in me where, you know, that's like most people. You know, I react a certain way to certain things. You know, I look at things a certain way because that's my background. I grew up I got two brothers, you know, and then my father at home with my mom. It's like, so I always say she grew up in you know, well, she didn't grow up, but she lived in a house full of men, you know, so it's a lot of testosterone in the house, all that stuff. You know, I grew up a crazy sports fan, you know, so I got that side, but then I also got the side of me that's the, you know, then finished school, you know, got the degrees and, you know, working in, you know, more of a corporate type of setting. And so like on the show, you get both parts of me because yeah, I'm still the person that I think a lot. In fact, I live in my head too much. So I'm always giving answers that may not always be the ones that people want to hear, especially sometimes guys. I used to get told all the time in the beginning of the podcast that I was always caping for women, but it's I just put some thought into some things sometimes, and I try to be just as straightforward and honest about things as I can. But then you also get the part out of me where I just be like, no, that was wrong, or whatever. So it's tough sometimes. But for me, man, I'm kind of like, I can be a lot of different things, Yeah.
So you talked about East Cleveland. What does East Cleveland, and I'm going to talk to anybody that's from East Cleveland, I'm going to ask this. What does East Cleveland mean to you, man? Like, what does it mean to you?
It's like, it's what made you, it's what made me, because of the fact that we look at the people who really became successful coming out the city. We look at them like you really made it out of some real poverty high standards, and I know the city is worse these days than what it used to be, even when we were there, but it was still always something going on. You never knew what you was going to see when you was walking down the street somewhere. It's when you talk about some of those rougher cities, a lot of times people talk about the big ones, like the Oaklands or the Chicagos and all these other things where all these things happen. But a lot of crazy shit happened in East Cleveland. And so when you do make it out of there, you're successful in certain, different ways. It's an accomplishment. So for me, East Cleveland is what made me. It's why, you can't be soft and a pushover all the time. You learn your tough, thick skin in EC. You learn how to fight there. You ain't grow up in EC without no fights and none of that stuff. You had enemies and everything. So EC is the backbone of who I am.
I bet. All right. I just got a couple more. So I want to rack your brain on these last two, man. You know what I'm saying? We kind of talked about it a little bit. I want to get people's, I think we have a responsibility to the public, if you ever have a platform to discuss issues, that affect people. You know what I'm saying? So it's a big thing. So do Black lives have to matter to Black people in order for Black lives to matter?
Yeah, they do. And I know we can have the separate argument of, because this happens in our communities, that we shouldn't focus on the police brutality side of things. I know we got that argument, but the bottom line is still Black lives do have to matter to us. We have to still address what's going on in our communities. Like, we can't keep seeing, what was it? We had the concert here recently, the Jay-Z and Beyonce concert. I think there were like 8 shootings after the concert throughout the city. Even one right there on St. Clair, right outside of East Cleveland, over where the DPG is. It was a shooting outside the dog pound. But I think they said as a whole it was 7 or 8. Like, we can't keep sitting there acting like that's not an issue. Yes, we got to attack all these other things, but we got to stop screaming completely, it's just the police against us or whatever. It's also us against ourselves too. We got to do better. We got to want to do better. We got to take care of ourselves more. But on the other side, it's kind of a mixed bag, because, Black people are going to kill Black people because that's the people you're around the most. That's your city. I mean, we're not just going to roll all the way out to some white neighborhood and just start, beefing with them, because we don't hang out there. We hang out in the hoods and the bars and the places around our town. So those are the people you're going to have beef with. And that's where that violence is going to come from. So in a sense, it's like, of course you got Black on Black violence. The same when you got white on white and whatever else, it's going to happen because that's who you're around. But we got to focus on it.
Yeah. All right. This will be the last thing, man. I'll bring it up a lot when we doing the podcast, obviously, but when you either hear the word love, you say the word love, think about the word love, feel the word, whatever. What does the action, the word, the feeling, the emotion, what does love mean to DJ Brainstorm, Mo Lucius? What does it mean, man?
Oh man, it means acceptance. Because if someone gives you love, or if you give someone love and they accept it, then that means acceptance. It also means acceptance if they're giving you that love too. They take you for what you are. Man, that's a good one.
I know, man.
That's really a good one. Love is kind of like everything, though. Like, people that don't have it in themselves to love, they really lacking on something. So it's pretty much everything. Love comes in different forms. Yeah, you got your romantic love with your girlfriend and your wife, your husband, and things of that nature. You got your family love. You got the love that you got for your homeboys, and your friends and things like that. So it comes to different levels. But there are people out there that live without love. They act like they don't need anybody and they don't need all these other things, and they're lacking. It's a void missing. So to me, love is everything. It's what connects you. As there's something or somebody walking, on this earth that you give love to, and when you lose them, it hurts. So to me, love is everything.
Man, bet.
Is that the Carters?
That's it.
Is that the Carters? Shit. My bad.